All right, guys, welcome. Today, I want to share with you another form that you will have come up in your lesson. It is the point slope form. So we went over the standard form, we went over the slope intercept form, and this is just another form that your equation could be in. And guess what? The equation will still be the same. It's just going to look different. So let's get started to see what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see here, you have a y that's in red. And then you have a y1 minus the y1 equals the slope times the quantity of an x minus x1. Everything in the green is going to be something that you plug in. If you notice, the x1 and the y1 are the x and y coordinate of a point that's on the line, and the m is the slope. So you know you can get the slope from 2 points. So if you have a point and you have a slope, then you can use this form to get to the equation of a line. All right, let's put it into practice. So right here, we have an equation. They want us to write an equation with a line that passes through the points 0, 5, and has a slope of 1/3 using point slope form. So let's write the point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. And remember, these parts right here are going to be the parts that we substitute in. So look, they gave us a point, so we're going to put those where the x1 and the y1 are located. They gave us the slope, so simply we're going to put that in the slope location. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So we'll have y minus, we're going to use the y coordinate, which is 5, and then that's going to equal our slope, which they told us is 1/3 times the quantity of x minus our x coordinate, which is 0. So we really don't have to put that 0 there, but I'm going to put it in so you can see what it looks like. And that's our equation. That's it, guys. If you have a point and you have a slope, then you can do the point slope form. You just have to remember that y1 and the x1 are the coordinates that they give you, a point from which you were given, and it tells you that it lies on this line. So all we're doing again is finding the address of this point and this slope. So let's see what it looks like simplified. So we'll have y minus 5 equals 1/3 x in point slope form. You really don't have to put minus 0. We put it there just so that you can see where the 0 goes. I also want you to note that this minus sign is a part of the equation, and it is not something that changes unless these coordinates right here, these points, are negative right over here. If the 0 or the 5 is negative, then those change to a positive sign. Let's try another one. All right, so we're going to get started on this one. What we need to do, it says, is what is the slope of the line that passes through these points, 6, 4, and 4, 10. And after we find that slope, we're going to find the equation and put it in point slope form. So let's go ahead and get started. We know to find the slope, we're going to do the change in x over the change in y. So that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is our slope formula. All right, so we're going to subtract our y coordinate. So that's going to be 10 minus 4 over 4 minus 6. So 10 minus 4 is 6, and then 4 minus 6 is going to be a negative 2. So my slope here is going to be negative 3. All right. So now that we have our slope, look what we also have. We have a point. And here's the cool thing. You can use either one of these points, points 1 or point 2, because they're both on the line, to create an equation. So remember, let's get our slope formula. Our point slope formula. Okay? Form. So we have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And we're just going to plug in one of these points. I'm going to choose points 1, and I'm going to put those right in, and you're going to see that substitution happen. So 1 minus, I'm going to use the y coordinate, which is 4, equals, let me go ahead and put my slope in, which is -3 times the quantity of x minus my x coordinate, which is 6. And voila, that is the point slope form. You literally just need a point and a slope, and you plug it in the correct places. That's it. So remember, the correct places are the x1, the y1, and the slope. Those are the ones that we're going to replace. Now, just so that you can see, we're going to also use the other coordinates so that you can see that equation. What it will look like is y minus, we're going to put our 10 in there, equals still the same slope. And yes, this equation, it will work as well for these points. And we just put we put a 4 here for my x. And there is the second equation that you could use. Either one of those works, okay? Because both of those points are on the line. All right. So now we're going to look at graphing from the point slope form. This is really cool because we're given a point. All I have to do is look. Now, one thing I notice is that this is positive. So guess what that tells me about the point? Because the point slope form is y1, y minus y1 times the slope times the quantity of x minus x1. Okay, so I can see that normally there's a subtraction sign. So this one's positive. That means that that coordinate is negative. So that means that my coordinate is a -4, 3. Because that 3 is right there and it's positive, I know that that is going to be a +3. But because I have a positive sign here, that means that that 4 must have been negative to force that positive sign there. So here's my point. I'm going to look for a -4, 3. Go ahead and put a point there. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my slope from that point. There's -4, 3 right there. And I'm going to rise 1 and run 2 to the left. So we're going to rise 1, run 2 to the left. And I'm just going to do it again just so that I can have a really good line. Rise 1, run 2 to the left. I can see that my slope is negative. And I'm just going to create my line going straight through just like that. And that's the equation of that line. Awesome job, guys. So what I'm using is the -1/2 slope and then this point, -4, 3. Okay, so just to make sure that we got it, we've got a line that contains points -4, 6, and 7, -5, and we want to write it in point slope form. Let's see if we can get it done. Okay, so remember, first step is you're going to choose what your slope is. We're simply going to subtract. So we have here a 6 minus a -5, and then I have a -4 minus 7. Let's get our slope. Right here, our slope becomes, this is going to be a +11 over a -11. So what does that mean our slope is? You got it. Our slope is going to be a -1. So right away, I'm looking for where I see a -1. It's here and here. Okay, now that I have my slope, all I have to do, friends, is choose one point. Well, I can see they used a 7 and a 5, so I'm going to focus on this point here. And here is what it would look like. Y minus my y coordinate, which is a -5. So what does that mean? I changed this to a positive, because minus a -5 is going to be a positive. Equals my slope, which is -1 times the quantity of x minus my x coordinate. It is positive, so it goes right in, and voila. Which one of those has that answer? Well, you can see it is this one right here. So that is our correct answer. That is the point slope form, guys. I'm so glad that you were able to watch this. If you want to practice, you can do these right here, and then check your work right here. You can pause it and then go back and check your work and see how it goes. Here are some videos that you can click on that are super cool for you to use for point slope form. And then also, here are some games that you can play. I appreciate you guys so much for watching.